Hello, my dear student. Welcome to the subject name is business environment. Today we are going to discuss another topic that is a social responsibility of business. So let's start with the concept of social responsibility of business. Social responsibility of business refers to the obligation of business enterprise to adopt policy and plans of action that are desirable in terms of expectation. ये बेसिकली सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी इट मीन्स बिजनेस को अपनी कुछ सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी फुलफिल करनी होती है and it is obligation of a business to adopt the policy and plans of action that are desirable in terms of expectation, values and interest of the society and for the benefit of the society and for the interest and the expectation of the society. The business has to fulfill these social responsibility and it ensure the interest of the different group of public are not advisably affected by the design policy of the business. तो बिजनेस क्या होता है, बिजनेस को अपनी प्रॉफिट मेकिंग के साथ साथ कुछ रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी जो होती है बिजनेस को सोसाइटी के लिए, सोसाइटी के बेनिफिट के लिए, सोसाइटी की एक्सपेक्टेशन के हिसाब से, सोसाइटी के इंटरेस्ट के लिए कुछ रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी फुलफिल करनी पड़ती है. इसी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी को सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी कहते हैं. So we can say that social responsibility is basically obligation to take those decisions and perform those actions which are desirable in terms of objective and values of our society. वो सब obligation जो कि business लेता है ताकि वो अपनी society के objective और value को achieve कर सके and which are desirable in terms of objective and value of our society. Social responsibility is broader than legal responsibility. Most of the time, you get confused about the social responsibility is basically legal responsibility. No, my response it's far more than the legal responsibility. Yes, social responsibility is a legal responsibility, but social responsibility may be fulfilled by the more compliance with the law. Social responsibility is more than it confirms the reorganization of the social responsibility even though they're not covered by the law. So sometimes the business has to perform legal responsibility and sometimes the business has to perform those social obligation even which is not covered by the law or which is not covered under the legal. So it means that social responsibility are those responsibility which is basically related to the legal as well as non-legal kind of responsibility, or it basically a voluntary action on the part of business people for the benefit of the society. So basically business people as a voluntary action सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी को फुलफिल करते हैं एज वेल एज फॉर द लीगल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी एज लीगल वॉलंटरी रिएक्शन. तो वी कैन से दैट सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी इज बेसिकली अ लीगल एज वेल एज द वॉलंटरी काइंड ऑफ एक्शन ऑफ द बिजनेस person for the benefit of the society. Now moving towards the next things that we can say that here you can see why should they develop a sense of social responsibility and discuss an importance of social responsibility to business. तो जब भी हम सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी या बिजनेस की बात करते हैं तो आपको ये पता होना चाहिए कि क्यों सेंस ऑफ रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ज़रूरी है, क्यों किसी बिजनेस को सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी परफॉर्म करनी पड़ती है. एज यू नो दैट ग्रोइंग competition in present competition, I have mentioned here wrong spelling, so correct it. So as you know that growing competition is increasing day by day, there are the number of competitor are coming, and so for more and more companies are coming in order to remain productive, competitive and relevant, the social responsibility required to be fulfilled. And as you know that globalization has blurred the nation borders, and technology has accelerated the time and mass distance. जैसे जैसे ग्लोबलाइजेशन बढ़ रहा है बहुत सारी कंपनीज इंडिया में आ रही है और नेशनल बॉर्डर्स हट रहे हैं, मैक्सिमम ट्रेड बढ़ रहा है. तो उससे क्या होता है कि ज़्यादा कंपनीज आएगी तो एक कंपटीशन क्रिएट हो जाता है, एंड कंपटीशन में आपको अपने प्रॉफिट के साथ साथ सोसाइटी का बेनिफिट भी सोचना पड़ता है. दैट्स व्हाई दे हैव टू फुलफिल द सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी. लेट्स टेक एन एक मोर डिटेल अबाउट अदर इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ अ सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ अ बिजनेस. क्या सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी से बिजनेस को क्या बेनिफिट होता है, व्हाई दे परफॉर्म अ सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी. फर्स्टली यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट social responsibility is basically voluntary effort on the part of the business. It is basically a voluntary exercise which has to be performed by the business, and in order to satisfy the expectation of the interest groups like owner, investor, employees, consumer, गवर्नमेंट एंड सोसाइटी. तो यहाँ पर अगर हम ये कहें कि सिर्फ सोसाइटी के लिए ही सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी थी, नो. Social responsibility is basically all those stakeholder which is which is affected by the बिजनेस एंड कैन अफेक्ट द बिजनेस. तो वो सब पार्टीज जो बिजनेस से अफेक्ट होती है, बिजनेस को अफेक्ट करती है, वो सब पार्टीज के लिए सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबल जब बिजनेस हो जाता है, उसी को सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी कहते हैं. Now, what are the main? These are the followings. You can see the importance of the social responsibility of business. Let's start with the one by one. Public image and positive population. In order to have a public image and positive public relation, the you can say that these social responsibilities is performed. Another is government regulation. To avoid the government action, business should discharge their duties voluntarily, and facing which may ultimately force them to force close down. So, in order to avoid any kind of, you can say that, in order to avoid um, any kind of uh, closed down condition, they the business follow the government rules and they follow the government regulation. And for the survival and the growth, as you know that a number of competition are increasing and every business is a part of society, so the business utilize the available resources like power, water and land from the society. And so in order to survive and grow, support from the society is very much essential. So that's why the social responsibility of business is important uh, for the business. Employee satisfaction. Besides getting good salary, employee expect good and healthy atmosphere and healthy environment, working conditions, so that employer or the company owner duty to provide them the same employee satisfaction directly related to the productivity. तो यहाँ basically ये social responsibility towards the employees है. तो यहाँ पर एम्प्लॉय को सेटिस्फाई करने के लिए सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी फुलफिल होती है. एंड कंज्यूमर अवेयरनेस, अगेन दिस इज social responsibility towards the consumer and to protect the consumer against any kind of law and malpractices. Now, moving toward the uh, next topic, that is a social responsibility towards a different group. This topic I have already covered in a bomb subject like a business organization and management, but I have again repeat this topic for your revision purpose. So you can say that बिजनेस रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी टूवर्ड्स डिफरेंट ग्रुप क्या है. बिजनेस कौन कौन से सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी डिफरेंट ग्रुप के साथ परफॉर्म करता है. बिजनेस हैज टू परफॉर्म और रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी टूवर्ड्स द शेयर होल्डर और द ओनर. क्या होता है रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी एक शेयर होल्डर के लिए, क्या होती है बिजनेस की, लाइक शेयर होल्डर को राइट टाइम पे ensure their investment get a sufficient amount of return in terms of investment. तो शेयर होल्डर को ये इंश्योर करना कि उसका जो इन्वेस्टमेंट है उसके लिए अच्छा अमाउंट उसे मिलेगा, ये रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी होती है दैट इज बिजनेस की. एज वेल एज शेयर होल्डर को पूरी इंफॉर्मेशन, एक्यूरेट एंड फुल इंफॉर्मेशन वर्किंग ऑफ अ पर्टिकुलर कंपनी की इंफॉर्मेशन प्रोवाइड करना ताकि वो फ्यूचर ग्रोथ दे सके. नाउ द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी टुवर्ड द एम्प्लॉइज. एम्प्लॉइज जो भी कंपनी में काम करते हैं उनके लिए भी एज अ बिजनेस they have to perform social responsibility towards the employees. They have to provide them good salary as well as good working conditions so that the employees can work happily in that particular condition or in particular company. They get fair wages and fair deal from the management. Another responsibility towards the consumer, providing a right quality and right quantity of goods with a right price. That is the responsibility of a business towards the consumer. Now, responsible toward the government, as being a businessman or as the enterprise or the business must respect the law of country and pay taxes regularly and honestly without any kind of evasion. It must have good citizen and according to the well accepted values of the society. तो गवर्नमेंट को टाइमली टैक्स देना भी एक रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है बिजनेस का. तो दैट इज अ रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी टुवर्ड्स government. Now moving toward the next responsibility to the community. When we have community means society, uh, to protect the natural environment. एक बिजनेस का एक रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी बन जाती है कि वो दे हैव टू कंट्रीब्यूट टुवर्ड द सोसाइटी, लाइक दे प्रमोट education, population control, and other different kind of social scheme for the society, so that the maximum people of the society get benefit from that particular business. So this is a responsibility of a business towards the community, as well as they have to ensure that they ensure that they take all the necessary precaution without harming the environment. तो वो सब चीज़ें बिना environment को harm किए business को run करे, that also responsibility towards the society or community. Like you can see here, the Bangalore Foundation Trinity has initiate corporate responsibility toward the healthcare initiative. The healthcare initiative also comes under the society. Society की problem और community की problem को resolve करते हुए अगर आपको responsibility fulfill करते हैं as businessman, it means it also comes under the community responsibility. Now moving toward the responsibility towards the environment. As a business damages the environment by causing a pollution in the following ways. तो बिजनेस जो होता है वो प्रोडक्शन के दौरान n number of pollution करता है, and emission of gases and smoke from the manufacturing plants, and the use machines and vehicles, and contributing a noise pollution, as well as deforestation होता है due to the acquisition of forest land for setting up the plant, and the growth of the urbanization and industrialization, and due to this they harm the environment. So as you know that yes, business has to use the environment, but they have to return something to the environment. So it is a responsibility of a business to protect the environment, and they have to play a very significant role. Like they have to play as a preventive role, they have to play curative and awareness role. So these kind of role the business has to perform towards the environment. Like preventive may the business should take all the possible step to ensure that no damage is done to the environment, and business must follow all the rules and regulation laid down by the government to control the pollution at very inception or very initial level. तो इस तरह की प्रिकॉशन लेके वो प्रिवेंटिव रोल प्ले कर देता है, पहले से वो नेसेसरी स्टेप ले लेंगे ताकि इन्वायरमेंट को हार्म ना हो. और नाउ द अनदर दैट इज अ क्यूरेटिव, इट मींस दे रेक्टिफाई एंड डैमेज हैज बीन. अगर इन केस बिजनेस ने कोई हार्म कर भी दिया इन्वायरमेंट को, दे हैव टू रेक्टिफाई, एंड दे हैव टू लाइक सपोज उन्होंने अगर फॉरेस्ट को डिफॉरेस्टेशन किया है तो देन दे हैव टू एफॉरेस्टेशन और इम्प्लांट द, दे हैव टू plant plantation of tree kind of exercise they have to do in terms of responsibility towards the environment. And last, that is awareness. The business undertake the public awareness program to sanitize or to aware the people about the environmental degradation and pollution. That also comes under the responsibility towards the environment. Another thing that I've mentioned here, that very important and very basic things, that whenever we're talking about the social responsibility, there are the four types of response or social responsibility is uh, is mentioned here. Agree, Archie Carroll model of business responsibility. When the question arises that what kind of social responsibility, what type of responsibility, तो you can say that business चार type की responsibility fulfill करता है: economical responsibility, legal responsibility, ethical responsibility, and discretionary responsibility. When we're talking about the economical responsibility, it means each business unit is an economic entity, and therefore the primary responsibility has to be a successful economic unit for the society, and it is therefore responsibility of a business to produce an economically viable product and service and maximize profit for the owner and the shareholder. However, if this is carried to extreme, it known as profit maximization. So it is a responsibility of a business to maximize its profit. So whenever the business is maximize its profit, that is economic responsibility performed by the business. Second, that is a we can say that legal responsibility. Legal responses fulfill the legal responsibility is what is considered as important with respect to, you can say, with respect to proper corporate behavior. Whenever the business perform the proper corporate behavior, and they ensure all the compliances and the adherence to the laid down rules, laws, and the loose rules and a regulation that business unit is deemed to follow. इट मीन्स दैट दे फुलफिल द लीगल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी. जब बिजनेस कोई भी लीगल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी को ओबे करता है, किसी भी कंट्रीज के लॉ रूल्स को फॉलो करते हुए अपने काम को परफॉर्म करता है, इट मीन्स दे आर ओबेइंग द लॉ, एंड ओबे द लॉ मीन्स दे आर फुलफिलिंग द लीगल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी. नाउ another is ethical responsibility, that is, you can ethics related as such responsibility include behavior that is not necessarily codified into the law, but they have ethically they have to perform. It means that such kind of it means they have to maintain a, like suppose equity, fairness, and impartiality, and respect the right of individual, and provide a different uh, treatment of individual only when the differences between them are relevant. So this kind of a is basically ethics kind of responsibility. They have to be ethical, do what is right, and do not harm anybody without any valid reason. This is an ethical responsibility of a business. And the fourth responsibility the business has to perform, that is discretionary. It means it, whenever the business contribute to the community and to contribute to the quality of life, it means that they're performing, or when they do a voluntary kind of action for the society, this comes under the discretionary activity. So this is all about the type of responsibility. When we're talking about the stakeholder, uh, सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी में वो कौन कौन से ग्रुप है जिनके लिए सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी परफॉर्म करता है बिजनेस. तो दे आर द बेसिकली आर द स्टेक होल्डर. तो स्टेक होल्डर बेसिकली कौन है? स्टेक होल्डर आर द पर्सन और द पार्टी who can be affected by the business, and who can be affected and uh, be affected by the can be affected by the people and can affect the business. तो जो भी पार्टी बिजनेस को अफेक्ट करती है, बिजनेस से इन्फेक्ट हो जाती है, ऐसी पार्टीज को स्टेक होल्डर बोलेंगे. और शेयर होल्डर इज कम्स अंडर द स्टेक होल्डर. तो स्टेक होल्डर वो सब पार्टी भी लाइक शेयर होल्डर हुई, सोसाइटी हुई, supplier, society, government, creditor, and the customer as comes under the stakeholder. The stakeholder basically are those party who affect by the business and can affect the business. So this is all about for today's session. Thank you, my dear student.